Joining us on stage this evening, we welcome back someone who was here just a few moments ago, one of India's most respected journalists, Sardesai. Nearly 3 decades of journalistic experience in print and TV, the founder and editor-in-chief of IBN 18 Network, which included, of course, CNN, IBN 7 and IBN Lokmat. Prior to that, of course, managing editor of NDTV 24/7 and NDTV India. He is currently consulting editor at the India Today Group and does a flagship show for its English news channel Headlines Today. He's won more than 50 awards for journalistic excellence, including the Padma Shri for journalism back in 2008. His best-selling book, as we just heard, on the 2014 elections, 2014, The Election That Changed India, won international and national acclaim. He was also, let us not forget, not a bad cricketer in his own right, as was his father, playing 6 first-class matches in his youth while at Oxford University. Please join me in welcoming our host this evening, Mr. Sardesai.
Thank you very much. Let me borrow Shashi Tharoor's cliche and say it's a great pleasure to be here. And it's even a greater pleasure because with me is someone who I believe is one of the true icons and legends of our time. I don't think we've given him an applause loud enough. I think I've said this once before, but if Sachin Tendulkar, in a sense, with more than 50 test hundreds, redefined statistically what an Indian batsman can achieve, Anil Kumble, by taking more than 600 wickets, has redefined what an Indian bowler can achieve. And typically of us Indians, we celebrate the batsmen and not the bowlers enough. Because bowling involves hard work. Or so I was told. Anil, it's a great pleasure to have you here. And in all those introductions, in seeing all those wickets which you were taking, I'm going to start by what I thought defines Anil Kumble. You broke your jaw in a match in the West Indies. And instead of just sitting in the hospital bed or sitting in the dressing room, you actually went out and batted with a broken jaw because the Indian team needed you to bat there. Were you at any stage the kind of cricketer who said that, look, my jaw is broken, I might as well just fly back home? There's that picture of you, I don't know if we have it somewhere, but you'll find it on any internet site, Anil Kumble fully bandaged, going out to bat against the West Indies. I think if anything symbolizes courage in cricket, it was that. Did you ever think twice?
Thank you, Leslie. Before I get to the answer, let me again say it's a pleasure coming back to Dubai, because this is where I started my international cricket. Sharjah was my first match for India in 1990. So this certainly has some very special memories, and this gathering itself is very special because my daughter has recently written the IPCC, and let me tell you, I mean, all of you would have probably gone through that. The pressure that a student goes through. As a father, I have not seen that. And I don't think I went through that kind of pressure even playing for India. So in jest, please don't take me seriously, but if someone wants to, I don't mind it. I have appealed successfully 619 times, so this is the 620th time. I want my daughter to become a chartered accountant. So getting to the question, 2002, I was just coming back from a shoulder injury, and it was we were on the West Indies tour, and Antigua was the test match, and John Wright came to me prior to the test match when we were batting, he said, if people thought that Rajdeep spoke about the wickets and bowler versus batsman. But if anyone thought that batting at number 8 was easy, you invariably faced the second new ball. So it was not easy. And John Wright thought that I was a better batsman than the debutant Icai who was the wicket keeper. So John Wright came to me and said, look, I want you to bat ahead of Ratra and I want you to protect him. So I went into bat and as usual, the second new ball was due and I got hit. And I continued batting for about 4 overs and I was injured. And I got out and Antigua is a great place. It's a great place for a holiday. But it's not a great place if you have a medical emergency. So it was a Saturday and there was a public announcement made for a doctor to come and have a look. So he came in his shorts, a typical West Indian doctor, with a glass of rum in his hand and shorts and t-shirt, and came down, had a look at my. I could, as soon as I got hit, our physio came onto the field, and I asked Andrew Lepus. I said, look, I can feel something's a gap there in my tooth, and have I lost a tooth? So he said, no, nothing, you're fine. So I. Then this doctor came as well, so he said, no, nothing, you're absolutely fine. So I said, okay, that's great. And then I went to the hospital. There was only one general hospital for the population is only about 60,000 in Antigua. So went to the hospital, I was made to lie on the bed, and there was not even a
ceiling fan.
X-ray. So it was shot from the top, and I saw the film of the X-ray. And I thought, I can see the eye sockets in the skull that I see here. How is someone going to make sure that there's a crack there? So I knew that there was something wrong, but the doctor said it's fine. So I went back to in the evening to the gym, and by which time both Lakshman had already scored 100. Ratra was, I think, batting 90 or something, and we had a good partnership. So I knew that I had to bowl the next day. So I went to the gym, trained, and I was ready to bowl. So I always believed that the next day morning, Bangalore has outsourced a lot of people. We do a lot of outsourcing in Bangalore, and there was this outsourced doctor who was in Antigua. And I went to his clinic, and he eventually confirmed that I had a fracture. And I knew that I had to come back home to fix the fracture. So that particular day, we scored 600 plus. We had won one test match, lost the other in Barbados, so it was 1-1. Great opportunity to win a series in West Indies. And Sachin was bowling while I was making. Sachin was bowling and he was whipping it. He was spinning it big. He does it anyway, but on a third day pitch, I knew that there was an opportunity for us to go and bowl. And I've always believed that if my shoulder was fine, then I was fine to go and bowl. So I told Andrew Lepus that, look, I'm going to bowl. So he thought I was just joking. So I said, no, I want to go and bowl. And whatever is possible to get wickets. End of the day, let's take stock and then see if I can actually come back the next day to bowl. Because I was booked to come back to Bangalore to fix the job. So I went down to bowl, and probably that was one way of getting Lara out. To bandage your face so that you look really scared. And probably it scared him. He was not looking at the ball. That's how I got Lara out. Another deception in a bowler's armory.
So you got Lara out with a broken jaw. We've just done something unique in the last 3 minutes. An anchor has asked a question to a guest and not interrupted him for 3 full minutes. It never happens on Indian television. If this was Indian television by now, I would have asked Anil 3 times, but I want to know more. And I would have stopped him 3 times. So you told that wonderful story. There's another wonderful story that I heard of your famous match against Pakistan, when you took 10 wickets in an innings. Is it true that when you took your 9th wicket, you went to Srinath and said, keep bowling wide, I want to take the 10th wicket? Is it true that you went up to him and told him, I will not let you take that 10th wicket?
I don't think I need to say anything to Sri because I thought there was telepathy between Javagal Srinath and myself. And it was pretty obvious that we still had one session on the 4th day plus the 5th day to get 1 wicket. And I don't think I had to say anything.
No, did you go?
No, I never did. No, I didn't. So, I did not. I just took the cap and the sweater which Sachin, religiously used to do that and give it to the umpire. So I just took it and went straight to the 3rd man boundary where I was standing and Javagal Srinath bowled from the other end. The most difficult over ever because I had done that when Kapil Dev was nearing his 4-3-1. He was about to break Richard Hadley's record against Sri Lanka in Bangalore. And we were winning the test match pretty comfortably on the 4th day against Sri Lanka. So then I was asked to bowl wide. And I did bowl. It's never easy because you're so tuned to bowling on the stumps and then suddenly you have to bowl wide. It's not that simple. So I did try, and the Sri Lankan batsman was probably trying hard to get out. And he swung the bat, got an inside edge, and I got him bowled. So Kapil Dev equaled the record in Bangalore and then went on to beat, surpass Richard Hadley's record in Ahmedabad. Probably this was karma and destiny. So Srinath tried hard to bowl wide. He was actually wide a couple of times. So, yeah, to answer your question, no, I didn't tell Srinath, but I guess the other 10 on the field certainly told him.
Basically, you would not have forgiven Srinath had he taken that 10th wicket because both of you are from Bangalore and there is a chowk named after you called Anil Kumble chowk. There is no chowk named after Srinath. So
there is one in
you have greater ownership over Bangalore than he has.
Because I'm from Bangalore and he's from Mysore, so...
I thought it was all part of one large Kannadiga community.
No, I think it was... you don't need to say when you're winning comfortably and when the other 8 have really told Sri what to do. And
what was the moment in that 10 innings, in that 10 wicket inning haul when you thought that you were in a position to take 10 wickets? Because as we've said, it's only happened twice in a sport which has been played for over 130 or 140 years. Only twice has a bowler taken all 10 wickets in an innings. So it's never going to probably happen for another 100 years. What was the moment when you thought, this is my chance?
possibly, 6 out of 6 I had at tea time. And I came back into the dressing room. And the previous best that I ever had in a test inning was 7 for against Sri Lanka in Lucknow. So I felt this was a great opportunity for me to better that and finish the other 4. I mean, Wasim Akram was batting at one end and Salim Malik was still batting. So we knew that if I had one more wicket and then the tail, it's pretty easy to wrap up in that kind of pressure. So I knew that after 6, I had a chance to get my best in test inning for India. Once 7 happened, 8 and 9 happened in 2 deliveries. So once that happens, then Srinath did that over. But I realized when I came back to bowl the last over of the match that Wasim Akram was taking strike, and I pushed mid-on back, thinking that he'll take a single or give him a single and get Waqar Yunus on strike because Wasim was batting for a long time. Then I realized that Wasim is never going to take a single. If I have to get him out, if I have to get the 10th wicket, it had to be Wasim. And it had to be in that over because it would have been too embarrassing for me to ask Srinath to do it again. And I would have to ask. And I don't think the team would have asked Srinath to do it again. Then I'd have to probably quietly go and tell Sri, one more over.
Was it special that it happened against Pakistan? I've often wondered,
Very special because it was a series India-Pakistan after 10 years in India. 87 was the last time that a Pakistan team had toured India. And in 99 they came. The first test match in Chennai was a very closely fought affair and we lost by 12 runs, very narrowly. Sachin played a brilliant innings in the second innings So we were very disappointed that we were not able to cross the line in Chennai. And when we came to Delhi, it was a 2 test match series. So we had to win the Delhi test match to equal the series. And no way that we would lose to Pakistan in India. So it was very satisfying that we were able to beat Pakistan in Delhi. So that was the main motive. Yes, of course, 10 happened and something probably I was destined.
I think we should give a hand for getting 10 wickets in the innings. But I also want to know, your name is, you were nicknamed Jumbo. You don't look like an elephantine kind of character. And where did the name Jumbo come from?
The same venue, Firozshah Kotla, thanks to Navjot Singh Sidhu. He was standing in Midon, where he usually stood most of the time when you bowled. So we were playing the Irani Trophy. After that match, I made a comeback into the Indian team in 92-93 against Delhi. I was playing for rest of India, so was Navjot Singh Sidhu. And the wicket had some uneven bounce, and there were a few spots where when I bowled, it was just taking off. So Sidhu was at mid-on, and then I got Kirti Azad out, literally of a bouncer. So it pitched and then it took off. He got caught at silly point, and then immediately Sidhu shouted, "Jumbo jet." So the jet got deleted and the jumbo remained.
Is it true that Sidhu used to talk very little in those days, that he's making up now for all those years?
Yes, it's true. He's certainly made up for a lot of, not just during his playing times, probably even his previous work.
He's made up for a few generations in a way. The other interesting thing that I'm always sort of watching you, listening to you, is that in your private life, off the cricket field, you were a relatively calm person. But once you were on the cricket field, I remember one player telling me that Anil Kumble has the mind of a fast bowler. That you used to get very, very angry if anyone misfielded of your bowling. You would get very angry if, legitimately so, if a catch was dropped off your bowling. And you were a very bad-tempered guy on the field. Are there two Anil Kumbles? One is this soft, relaxed guy, calm, and one is an Anil Kumble who was terribly bad-tempered and angry, particularly when things were not going your way on the field.
I don't think I was bad-tempered, but I certainly wanted to compete, and I hated losing. And yeah, on the fielding part, I was not the greatest fielder, nor was I Junkie Rhodes. But as a bowler, you want all 6 deliveries to be bowling at one player. You don't want repeatedly, if someone's taking a single every ball, then you're actually bowling at 2 different batsmen. So if you have to set up a batsman, although the batsmen don't agree that bowlers get you out, but bowlers do get batsmen. So you are trying to set a batsman. At that point in time, if someone goes off strike, then you get upset. And those kind of things happen on the field. But I was very competitive. I certainly had the fast bowler's mindset, and I had to have that. Because I don't think I was the most skillful as a bowler, so I had to be really aggressive. I had to keep telling myself that I have to put in a lot more effort every ball if I have to keep the batsman under check.
What language would you abuse it? You can hear an Indian wicket keeper sometimes abusing in. My late father, who played for India, says his one legacy was that he gave one particular form of abuse in Marathi, because he thought that the English would never realize that it was an abuse in Marathi, so that they would really get riled up and ask, what is he saying? He's saying, no, he's saying something very nice, good morning. Instead he was saying, something very different to good morning. So would you abuse in English, or would you generally abuse in Hindi?
No, you would abuse yourself. I was always trying to get the best out of me, and I thought I was at my most competitive best if I was really fully charged up and not just down and just being very sober. So on the field, I had to be that. But if you had to tell a batsman, you have to be smart. You don't need to show it to the television or to show all the people. I mean, the batsman actually, takes a run and he's next to you, so you can quietly tell what you think of him. You don't need to tell the whole world what you think of him. So there are ways and means, and right through my 17 years of as a player, I never went to the match referee. The 1 year that I was captain, I was always with the match referee, trying to control another player or trying to support another player.
I'm going to come to that incident, that famous incident when you were captain and you had to go to the match referee in a moment. But as a bowler, was there any batsman who infuriated you? Was there any batsman who really, pissed you off, to use the word?
I don't think, you looked at batsmen in such a way. Every batsman was challenging.
The most difficult batsman, was there someone who you found absolutely difficult to get out? Or someone whom you struggled to get out?
There were a lot of them, but most of them were a part of my team, so which was very good. I didn't have to bowl a Tendulkar, a Dravid, a Ganguly, a Sehwag, a Lakshman. So you would only bowl in the nets, and then you could tell them that, look, this ball you were out and that ball you were out. so it was always a challenge bowling at a Brian Lara. I mean, he was probably a batsman who had 4 or 5 different shots to every ball. He was very special in that sense. He was always attacking. I still remember, when West Indies were looking to score quickly and declare in Jamaica in the series in 1996. I mean, I had a short third man. We didn't have any fielders close in because we were trying to stop the runs. I had a short third man which was literally behind the keeper, and he still beat him with his subtleness, and he was playing with the bowler, toying with the bowler. And I remember the tsunami, in aid of tsunami, we played a match at MCG, and Brian Lara was batting and I was bowling, and MCG is a big ground, and he stepped out early, and I bowled slightly slower, and I knew that I had deceived the batsman here, and I knew that he'll go for the shot, and I'll get him out at long on or deep mid wicket. All he did was, he sat down, swept me for a 4. No other batsman would have done that. And that was a challenge bowling at a Brian Lara. And there were many batsmen like Steve Waugh, Jacques Kallis, Arvinder De Silva. Plenty of batsmen who always found it difficult.
What is it about India and spin bowling? The Pakistanis seem to produce fast bowlers and Indians produce spin bowlers. Now there are 2 theories to that. One is that the Pakistanis have the Pathan blood in them, and therefore they are able to produce the fast bowlers and the spinners. The other is that Indians are vegetarians by and large. A number of Indians are vegetarians. So spin bowling is more suited to the art of play. I know you're a vegetarian. Many of our great spinners, except for Mehdi, are probably vegetarians. I'm just wondering what is it about India? Is it just the fact that it's so hot that therefore, it's easier to conserve energy by bowling spin? And the Pakistanis are just bigger built possibly, or conditions in Pakistan aid fast bowling. I've often wondered, why do we produce the spin bowlers and they produce the pace bowlers?
I think, I'd like to thank the legacy that you just mentioned. Thanks to the Vishen Babies, the Chandras, Prasannas and the Venkat Raghavans that, spin bowling got the prominence in India. And possibly, Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, the icons for Pakistan cricket, the first names that come out of Pakistan, you think of course, the Javed Miads and the Zahir Abbas and Hanif Mohammads, all of them are there. But then, you start thinking of the faster bowlers. Whereas in India, it's always the batsmen you think of the icons and then the spinners. So probably that's where, it is. And you had Kapil Dev and Javagal Srinath, Zahir Khan. And now there's a whole battery of fast bowlers who are part of the Indian team. So it's just, I think, a mindset. I don't think it's...
because you started off as a fast bowler.
Yes, I did start off as a fast bowler, and when I was 13, I was told to stop bowling fast because there was no 15-degree rule, and I started bowling spin, and it came naturally to me, the action. and I bowled leg spin. And my brother just mentioned saying that there are not too many leg spinners around in Karnataka in your age group, so why don't you start bowling leg spin? So that's how I started bowling.
You know, the early pictures of you are of Anil Kumble in, wearing your spectacles. Your daughter, as you said, is becoming a chartered accountant. You come from the tradition of cricketers who actually were educated. You almost did what?
I'm an engineer.
Yes, you're an engineer. And I've often wondered, you look like a professor or an engineer when you first came on the cricket field. With your specs, you look very different to the average Indian cricketer. Nowadays, most Indian cricketers don't even go to college. Do you think that it makes a difference to go through that college education, to have that training of becoming an engineer? Does it help you on the cricket field?
I think education certainly helps. It certainly helps you to keep a balance, take the rough with the smooth, and it certainly helped me in my career. Whether engineering helped, I'm not really sure. I'm a very analytical, very practical kind of a person. I always, even when I wrote exams, I always wrote what I knew first, so that I impress upon the evaluator that he knows most of the things that's been asked of him. And that's exactly how I bowled. So I played a percentage game even when I bowled, and invariably, it was successful. So I played a percentage game of bowling at the stumps, where you have the opportunity of getting a batsman out in 4 different ways. If you bowl outside the stumps, then you only have the percentage comes down by 50. So I always played a percentage game, and that's what.
So the wicket was like a laboratory. I'm just wondering whether any chartered accountant has played cricket for India, Test cricket, and I can't think of a name right away. Maybe that means they have to work much harder than engineers. So they didn't have the time. If you were able to combine becoming an engineer with playing cricket, chartered accountants perhaps get so involved in chartered accountancy that they don't get time to play cricket. But as your cricket career started off, you also were part of this great age of Indian cricket, where you started winning matches outside India, except for Sharjah, where the Pakistanis kept defeating us. But in most parts of the world, Indian cricket sort of took off. What do you think is responsible for that? Do you think it's generally that India as a country today has more self-belief perhaps than it had when you started 25 years ago? That you can win outside India as well?
I think the first time was really important. As a group, we were in the 90s, although, the numbers, they know better than all of us. You tend to say that India won a series after 25 years. You would have probably gone there only the 4th time in those 24 years. But 25 or 24 years sounds a bit too long, rather than the 5th time that you're attempting a challenge. So for us, when we toured England in 2002 under Saurav Ganguly, we were very determined that we had to change the trend, because I had played 12 years for India by then. Sachin had played more than 12, and Rahul, Saurav, Srinath, all of us had played a lot of cricket by then, and we wanted to change that. And the first time that we crossed the hurdle, which was at Headingley, was something very special. Obviously, prior to that, we had done well, but in patches. On a green top, we chose to bat first. Rahul Dravid and Sanjay Banglar batted brilliantly, followed by Sachin and Saurav, who gave us a great platform. We played 2 spinners. We played to our strengths. Although there were 3 fast bowlers, we played Harbhajan and myself on a green top.
So you think that was the turning point?
I think that was the turning point for us. Once we did that the younger lot, the Dhonis and thereon, even Sehwag played a major role. I thought Sehwag was critical for our wins overseas, because he would dominate the opposition. And that was the difference in us, the later order batsmen, going there and then, making things comfortable for them. I think Virendra Sehwag deserves a lot of credit for that.
You actually had this wonderful constellation of batsmen come together. Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, Saurav Ganguly, Lakshman and Sehwag. If you had, it's tough to say, but if you had to choose one of them to
you're putting me in the spot.
You see, as a news person, I always look for a headline. I say, Anil Kumble says Sehwag is the best batsman. I'll send that to Sachin's agent and say, please let Sachin know that Anil thinks that Sehwag was the best. No, but more seriously, 5 cricketers like that, did that? Was that the big difference?
That was the big difference. Those 5, you knew that 3 would come good all the time. At any given point in time, under any conditions, 3 of them will certainly come good. And if all 5 come good, then you had a great test match. And that's exactly what we needed as a bowler. You need the batsman to give you runs. And not just runs, but the amount of runs that are scored, which creates, the opposition bowlers to be on the back foot. And that's what these 5 would create, time in, time out. I mean, you look at every match that we played in 2002 until 2008, these 5 scored in every game.
But out of these 5, for me, one in some ways is special because Sachin Tendulkar played his first test at 15. And you probably were also playing your junior cricket and coming up around the same time. When you saw a 15-year-old first time, batting like almost like he was the finished product. Were you in awe of Sachin Tendulkar? I've often wondered when cricketers in that same generation, were they simply in awe of the ability of this man?
Absolutely.
I mean, would I be right in saying that he is India's answer to Don Bradman?
Absolutely. I think Sachin was something really extraordinary. I'm glad that he concentrated more on his batting because if he had started bowling leg break, then I would have struggled. Because he was someone who would just turn up and then, spin it like this, bowl a googly, bowl a flipper. And I was glad that, he didn't take up bowling seriously. So, he was very special. I remember, I don't know whether he remembers that, but then, we were playing in Nagpur in a test match. And he was practicing on the outfield, not even on the pitch. So he just threw the ball at me and said, can we have a knock? I said, yeah, I will give you a knock, I'll bowl.